So, what it takes to become a scientist? Think about this for yourself and see what kind of characteristics as a person you need to have if you want to become a scientist. First of all, have you got attitude? Attitude of being a scientist? Attitude of accepting criticism? Attitude of accepting the fact that sometimes your paper might be rejected, your conference paper might be rejected, your book that you have written might be rejected to be published or not. So first, the most important thing is that you have a kind of scientific attitude. Can you cross boundaries? If you are not able to cross boundaries, then perhaps it's a little bit difficult to become a good scientist, because in science sometimes we have to cross boundaries. We have to go outside the comfort zone that we have. Therefore, this is an important characteristic of becoming a scientist. You need to take responsibilities for others' goals, others' interests. You need to be open about it. You don't produce science for yourself. You produce science to be used for others, to be applied by others. Therefore, you need to take into account various interests and goals and prior knowledge and backgrounds of the people that you produce science for them. You need to be able to engage in a meaningful scientific discussion, debate and argumentation with your peers, fellows, etc. If you are not able to engage in such debates, for example, through LinkedIn account, through the conference gatherings, through seminars, etc., then that already implies that maybe you have some sort of difficulties to become a scientist. So for becoming a scientist, you need to have attitude, be able to cross boundaries, to take into account the roles, take into account the interests, goals, and backgrounds of others, and also you need to go outside the comfort zone and being able to engage in meaningful discussions and debate with others. And furthermore, it's important that you are able to present to the large audience. Sometimes you need to go in front of 1,000 people and defend your claim. Sometimes you need to engage in a conference meeting and try to convince and persuade others about your own point of view. So all these knowledge and skills are needed if you want to become a scientist. Now it's time to do some sort of individual work, and you discussed about your role as a scientist. In order to do that, I have a short exercise for you. Imagine you are a scientist in your own field. Then what is your role as a scientist? What do you think you need to do as a scientist in your field? How does your daily working day look like? So what do you do during the day? What journals are relevant for you and for your audience in your own field? At what conferences does your audience meet? What are the most important conferences in your own field? And what are the important online communities that you could engage in discussion and debate with? For example, LinkedIn groups, Academic Edu, and all kind of other social media such as Facebook, etc. Again, before you do that, I like to give you an example. For example, in my case, my role as a scientist is to actually provide a rich learning environment for students to learn to practice their skills. And my daily working activities include drinking coffee, socializing with my colleagues, and then perhaps checking my emails and write some articles, respond to the opinion of others, respond to the students' questions, provide online clips for my students, engage in writing a proposal, for example, to get money to do some sort of research, or writing a paper, reviewing a paper, all kind of activities that you can imagine in my own field. And of course, this might be a little different for other fields who have, for example, laboratory work or they mostly need to spend their time in lab to, for example, come up with a solution for a current problem in the society. The important journals in my field are educational technology or computer-supported collaborative learning journals. So these are the two most important journals in my field. And when I write a paper, if I don't cite some papers of this journal, then there is something wrong, because these journals are top journals in my field, and all the new information mostly come from these two important journals in my field. Normally I visit two conferences. One conference is Educational Technology Conference, or the other one is Computer-Supported Collaborative Learning Conferences. Every year I visit these two conferences, which are held in different parts of this world. And of course there are some also other conferences that, for example, are a little bit more specific or more general, doesn't matter. And normally I visit 4 conferences in my field, and of course there are various ways in which I engage in debate. I'm a member of LinkedIn group, I'm a member of various social media such as Facebook, such as ResearchGate, such as Academic Edu, and all kind of other important social medias, and I engage with my fellows and other scientists, and I debate about various aspects in my field. And of course for you it's very important that you are also active in these social medias. For example, if I have a PhD position and I want to select people for interview, the first thing that I do is that I do search their names, and I want to see what comes up in the internet. So if there is nothing, that means that this person maybe is not really interested in doing science. Otherwise, he would have been a member of LinkedIn. He would have had all his or her own qualities and also reveal that for others. So again, it's important that you are active in these social medias.